used to store weapons, targets here. Let me bring in CNN military analyst and retired Lieutenant General Mark Hertling. General, welcome back. Beginning with something that Carl Penhall and I have discussed multiple times is it's nightfall over Gaza. We are actually seeing behind him, the beginnings of the strategy that I'd love for you to explain to me, because what happens here is Israel picks a target, waits for night to fall. You see these illumination flares sent up in the sky, and then what happens?
Well, and then they hit the target. And what has to happen first, Brooke, is there's some type of clearance operation that has to go on where the target is cleared. Now, most of the time, most of the time it means that the target is ready to be hit, that there has been some kind of emphasis on as little collateral damage as possible. But what we were seeing last night, as Carl was reporting, is they had drones above the area. So that becomes the clearance technique, because sometimes you just don't have someone on the ground who can say, hey, that target is ready, there's no potential for civilian casualties, let's hit it. And it's not 100% accurate. The other thing that I'd mention is the individuals flying those F-16s. I've had the opportunity to take a couple of training rides in F-16s.
You've had to make some tough calls yourself, correct?
You do. Yeah, I had to make some tough calls in combat when striking targets. In one instance, I remember in Iraq where we saw a mosque being loaded with weapons, people firing from the roof of the minaret. In that kind of situation, the laws of wars dissipate a little bit, and you say, we've got to hit that target to protect our soldiers. In other cases, when you think you have a cleared target and you go in with an F-16 strike, something might occur. Something happened to me where we saw at the last minute, about ready to launch a strike, some individuals coming out of the building, we called the strike off. That's difficult to do at the same time flying an airplane, trying to avoid missiles that might be fired at you, doing it in the dark, finding out where your wingman is. This is not a video game. It's difficult to do, and the Israeli Air Force has the mission of destroying the target. They're doing the very best they can to clear those targets before they strike them, but that's extremely tough to do in an area the size of Gaza, which has an immense population and a problem with people not being able to move around.
General, so let's flip it and talk about Hamas, because we know they were given the chance for a pause in violence. They rejected a 24-hour ceasefire. What is their strategy here? Because they are outgunned.
Yeah, and you know what? You can't apply the rational actor theory in many places in the Middle East. I think they want to continue to bring Israel into their land, work the strategic messaging campaign that Carl has been talking about, and that Israel is the bad guy. They continue to strike targets. They continue not to be concerned with civilian casualties, and that's just not the case. It's just difficult to destroy things that are being launched into Israel from Gaza without civilian casualties. It's unfortunate, as they have said, but it's warfare. One of the things I'd like to point out, Brooke, I was told before I went to Iraq the last time by a mentor of mine that, hey, you can't win a war just by killing a lot of people. There has to be political and economic discussions. And I think Israel has attempted to do that on several occasions and has been rebuffed. Unfortunately, you've got a population that's behind the army and the movement of the Israeli government, and it's unfortunate, but every time they have attempted to cease, there's just been more rockets coming their way. So it's very difficult to engage between Israel and Hamas, and I think that's the real issue in this problem.
Again, a senior Israeli official telling us they are prepared for a ceasefire as we await Hamas and all the brokering and all of the machinations behind the scene with multiple countries, some of whom are friends with Hamas and some of whom are friends with Israel. General Mark Hertling, thank you so much for coming on, and as always, your expertise here. Meantime, happening right now.